Hello and welcome to my third video for Beebeecraft. This is the rainbow colourful scratch drawing paper, which we're going to be trying different experiments with to see what you can do with it. The first thing I thought when I received it was it'd be absolutely great for kids, keep them amused. You give them a bamboo stylus. In the pack you get 3 of these packets. Each one of these packets has 10 pieces of A4 sized scratch drawing paper in it, and each packet has 1 bamboo stylus. And then over and above that, in the pack of 3 packets you get another 4 bamboo styli in a separate packet. So great if you've got friends round, your kids have got their friends round and they're looking for something to do. They can draw away to the heart's content and reveal a rainbow surface underneath the scratch and have a really nice time doing it. So that's my first thought. So I have got a couple of pieces out ready, and as you can see, when you get it, it's covered in just a black surface. It's very similar to a scratch card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into approximately 4 same size pieces roughly. I'm not measuring it, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm going to cut 4 different pieces out of 1 A4 piece and try different things on it, just to see what kind of effects we can get. Be interesting, if nothing else. So that is about 4 equal size pieces. Some are slightly bigger than the others, so I'll move that out of the way because I'm finished with that. So first thing, I guess, for if you're letting your kids play on it, is just to let them draw a picture. I'm not an artist. You simply scratch the surface with the stylus and it reveals a picture. You'll be able to tell in a minute that I'm not an artist because my drawing's going to be shocking. There's a nice little tree next door to my house, and I'm going to make the roof. I'm having a thatched roof today because I live on the beach, if only. And it's a wooden beach hut. That's the door. So as you can see, that's the sea. They can draw anything they like. A couple of seagulls flying around. Give it a wipe. What's left behind is a colourful rainbow drawing. So that's if you want to just let your kids do some freehand drawing. You will get some residue left on your mat, so it's a good idea to do it on top of a piece of old newspaper or something along those lines. So on this piece, I think I'm going to try just a bit of sticky tape and see if that does anything, if that will actually take off any of the surface. I'm going to give it a really good press down and hopefully it'll pull away some of the well, it's pulled some away, but not very much. Maybe my sticky tape's not really sticky enough. I'll tell you what might work better than that. Let's try some double-sided tape. I've got piles of it in the drawer here, so because that's obviously a lot more sticky, that might have a better result. And obviously once I've used this, I can just, oh yeah, oh, I quite like that. It is going to go through a fair bit of sticky tape, obviously, doing this. However, it gives a really kind of nice subtle effect. Oh, leaving my sticky tape on the glass mat. I think we'll move that off. Oh, pulling the whole sheet there. Don't want to do that. So it might be possible to just do this with like a sellotape or something, which has plenty of stick. But I rather like that as an effect. That'll make a nice random and subtle card background, which we will turn this into a card very shortly. And you can just keep going until you're happy with what you've got there. There we are. So that's another background. That is a background for a card, which will be quite nice and subtle. So here I've done a stamped image, and I have scratched off all of the black underneath the stamped image. I will show you how I achieved that, and that is take one piece of card. I've used my stamping tool just because I had it to hand. Put the card in the stamping tool, set up the stamps how you think you want them. I think I'm going to just move that card over a smidge to about there. Yeah, that'll work. And then using a light coloured ink, I'm using the Archival Moonlight White for this example, but you can use any light coloured ink, anything that will show up on the black to allow you to scratch off the surface. So once you've got your stamps set up, you basically just ink up your stamps lightly. Don't have to put a lot, just very lightly. And then put the lid on that. And then that was where we had it. I think we'll come down slightly. Yeah, and then stamp the image. Give it a good press so you've got a good image. Lift up, and there you have a nice white image on your black scratch paper. I will just give my stamps a quick clean while I'm here, because I don't want them to be permanently stained, and I'll put them away very shortly. So that is what we've got from the stamped image. And all you do then, once you have that, is take the stylus, and if you want to, you can leave this to dry for a couple of minutes, or get your heat tool on it and give it a dry. But basically you then just scratch off where the ink is. Obviously you will need to take your time because you've got lines to follow. And as you can see, these two the two examples here are different colours, but that's because it's a bit of pot luck when you start scratching. Don't actually know what colour you will be revealing, other than it will be a rainbow colour. and you basically, so that's that one done. Where's my soft cloth gone? There. Just give it a little wipe. Yeah, there's one done. Same on this one. And every now and then just give the end of the stylus a little wipe, and then continue like that. Okay, so as you can see, the two are different because of the colour that's underneath, but it's a nice kind of a easy way to get something slightly unusual, and every single one will be slightly different, of course, because as I say, it's a bit pot luck what colour you get underneath. So I think we'll turn, I like that one better, I like the colours, so I'm going to turn that one into a card. So we'll put them out of the way, and then lastly but not leastly, I need another piece of card because I used them up. Just going to have a bit of a scribble on this one because I kind of like scribbles. Obviously, again, totally random. Give you a good idea of the colours that you can reveal though. Just do whatever you like. I like a nice scribble from time to time. I'm going to trim this down anyway to put it onto like an A2 card, but just trying to fill in a few gaps. Right, okay, so again, that's a really lively, bright background for a card. So let's get on with the card making. I think we'll turn this one and this one into cards for now. So I'm going to be using, where are they? Yeah. I'm going to be using a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card for this. This is it's already been scored, so I just need to get the bone folder out and fold it in half and burnish. And what I'm going to do is cut this into a mat, probably about 1/2 inch shorter. So we need it to be, I'm going to cut it at 5 inches. Is there any bit that I like that bit? So I'm going to try and keep that bit on. So cut it at 5 inches. You can always save your offcuts for other projects if they're any good. So we've got 5 inches and we want 3 3/4 inches. Yeah. So that's quite a pretty offcut. You could use it for a thin sentiment strip and use it as a background to a thin sentiment strip if you so desired. So that is going to be one of my card fronts, and then this one again we'll trim it down. We're going to trim it quite short because the bottom is scratched, so we're going to cut this one at, in fact I'm going to cut it I'm okay. I can actually get 5 inches out of that and take all that cut off, and then it needs to be 5 inches again by 3 3/4. As you can see here, I need that pretty much in the middle, so half of 3 3/4 is going to be 1 and 3 there, about there. So I need the horn to be about there. So that's that's halfway between 3 and of the 3 3/4 point. So I'm going to just cut a tiny strip off here, and now I can make this 3 3/4, and this should be the same amount. Tiny sliver off that side. That leaves my unicorn design smack bang in the middle. So again, that will be a card front. Now all we're going to need over and above that are some embellishments. So I chose 2 different sentiments here. I decided to go with a blended distress ink background with a simple black hello die cut for the busy scribble, and for the unicorn card I decided to stamp a sentiment. Now initially I thought that I might use Ranger archival black ink and just do a black on white sentiment, but then I decided that, well, it is a unicorn card after all, and therefore it needs to be sparkly. So I chose to ink up the stamp with Versamark ink. I had already prepared the piece of card with my powder tool, and then I sprinkled that with Wow embossing glitter in the colour Mermaid Tails. It's all very fairy tale. Obviously then that needed to be heat set with my heat tool. Got that all nicely set, and then had a look around for an appropriate die and chose one of the stitched oval dies. Again, I changed my mind. It's always a very fluid process making a card. I was going to cut it straight, as you can see there, but then I decided to actually slightly offset the die so it was at a little bit of an angle. So I secured that down with a bit of low tack tape onto the card, and then I ran it through my Gemini Junior, which obviously is off screen, and got ready to actually assemble both of the cards. So I decided to go with the unicorn card first. Decided actually that it was slightly too large, and trimmed that down by another 1/4 of an inch off each side, because I wanted to offset that mat as well. So I take a 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and then I put it on at an angle where the 3 corners that you see on the finished card are actually more or less touching the outer edge of the card. I then attached some double-sided foam to the sentiment and adhered that to the card. So this is the finished hello. Same thing, double-sided tape runner to fix the mat down, and then pop that sentiment up on some foam strips just to give the card a little bit of dimension. I then decided that my unicorn card still wasn't sparkly enough, so I got out my Hero Arts iridescent white shimmer spray, sorry, and you have to give it a good shake because obviously all the shimmer settles to the bottom, so you have to give it a good shake before you use it. And then once it dries just clear shimmery. Give the card a real good spritz with it, and decided that it was a good start, but it still wasn't quite glittery enough. So I added a few AB Diamante gems just randomly around the outside of the card and onto the sentiment tag, and then I decided to give it like a Bindi jewel smack bang between its eyeballs, just to really finish the card off nicely. Lots of sparkle. So there you have it. So there we are, a couple of different ideas of how to use the colourful rainbow scratch paper from Beebeecraft. I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have, please subscribe to my channel. Bye for now.